Good evening, Columbus community. I want to welcome you to our second community conversations around the question of what is a safe school? If you are tuning in, you can actually still RSVP and join us in our Zoom call. Check out our website and the Facebook article for the link. I want to welcome everyone who's going to participate this evening in this critical conversation. This is the beginning of our process to really answer the question, what does a safe school look like for the 21st century model of education that we are so hard at work on? This is the second of the first of the series of conversations that the community will have, which will lead up to our working group really digging in, looking at data, and coming up with recommendations to the Board of Education. Right now, we are beginning our 15-year look at what is a portrait of a graduate. This work has been led by Battelle for Kids, and it has been an amazing, amazing process. You've probably seen some of our videos highlighting that work. This summer, when issues of social unrest and questions of police involvement in our community and brutality arose, protest happened at my house. It's no surprise. And in fact, questions of whether or not school resource officers in our buildings came to the forefront. That conversation prompted us, the Board of Education, to really examine what does a safe school look like? Because this is what we know. We have to have a safe environment, both mentally and physically, for our students, staff, and community in order to really see the vision of our portrait of a graduate actually take hold. And this is where you come in. It is so critical that we hear the voice of the community because we are the schools for our community. And we have to make sure that we have safe environments, both physically and mentally and emotionally for everyone involved. So these community conversations are so important. And tonight you're going to continue those. You're going to get into small groups and you're going to really sit down and have space at the table for all of that wonderful variety and difference that we have around this question. It's a safe space, and we want everyone to know that their opinions, their ideas, and their concerns are of value to this process. It's critical that we not only listen to one another, but we really take the opportunity to respect where we each stand and what we think. This is what I know, Columbus community. The answer lies within all of us, and we have to create this open, safe dialogue in order to get there. This work is critical. It's critical to the Safe Schools Working Group that will be seated, that will be taking this information and really digging deep. If you don't know who's on the group, check out the website. We have a wonderful list of people who are community leaders, who are teachers, who are parents, who are law enforcement, who are academics, people that are really going to help us think critically through this and come up with recommendations to impact our 5-year strategic plan. I'm really excited about this opportunity. I'm really excited for you to be here and to share in this process. And it's only together that we're going to make this achievement. We heard at the last meeting where we are as a district. We had staff, we had Chris Ward present about our physical safety, and Cheryl Ward present about our social emotional safety and learning. And we had our general counsel, James Barnes, talk to you about our policies. And if you missed it, you can go back because it was all live. And you can really understand where we are. And understanding this process is really about taking us to the future. Where do we need to go? Where do we need to go to support that portrait of a graduate? So, are you ready to get started with your conversation? We are so excited that you are here. And we really want you to know each and every one of you matter to this process. We look forward to hearing what you have to say and to giving it to the working group so that the recommendations can be given to the Board of Education in November. Thank you so much for being here. And I'm going to turn it over to Battelle for Kids to kind of let you know what's going to happen next. Again, we appreciate you so much. Thank you, Columbus community. And if you're watching, and you want to participate, head to our website and you can still get the link to join the conversations. So have a great night and have very meaningful conversations. We're excited to see the outcome.
Thank you, President Adair, for that opening. My name is Colin Lewis. I am a Senior Director here at Battelle for Kids, and we are humbled by the opportunity to continue to partner with Columbus City Schools. We so enjoyed our work on the Portrait of a Graduate, and we're honored to be asked to help facilitate this conversation around school safety. And so we also have additional staff members who will be monitoring the chat room, as well as answering any questions that you have when we get into the breakout room. And so I would like to start by giving an overview of what's going to be happening this evening. I'm going to give you an outline of this process. We're going to provide you with a meeting guide that we will go over and give you an opportunity to peruse the contents of it. We'll give you an overview of the data that's been collected as of earlier this morning. We will have 2 rounds of discussion. In between each one of those rounds, we will share out, and then we will close and talk about next steps. So the school safety recommendation process, we are currently ending phase 1. This is the second of 2 community sessions where we're gathering input for the purpose of taking that community feedback to the working group, which is approximately 35 members who will meet between 3 and 4 times between now and November, where they make the board recommendations. And they will use the feedback from these sessions to guide their work. And so we're going to provide you with multiple opportunities through this process to share individual feedback as well as collective small group feedback. And we really want you to engage with that process because, as President Adair said, your voice is needed. So if you haven't already, in the chat box, there is a meeting guide that will be provided for you. And within that meeting guide, you will see the following. There will be expectations for our small group discussion. We have some structured discussion that we would like to engage in this evening. We have the topics that we will be discussing. And then there's a glossary of terms that you will have an opportunity to familiarize yourself with, because there were several key things that were discussed during the last meeting. If you weren't present, you will have an opportunity to catch up on by looking at that glossary of terms. And as I stated previously, there will be an opportunity for you to provide individual feedback as well as group feedback. And the meeting guide has been put into the chat box. And if you haven't already downloaded it, I'll give you a minute to do that and to look over some of the contents. But again, there are outlines for the discussion expectations. There are the topics that we are going to discuss, as well as a glossary of key terms regarding safety measures that Columbus City Schools is taking. And throughout the evening, again, you'll have the opportunity to provide individual feedback, as well as your group feedback from your small group discussions. So our advice to you would be that if you haven't already, please download the meeting guide and familiarize yourself with that, and make sure you have it handy when you go into your small group discussion. So we've asked you for your individual feedback, and this is the link, and we will make sure that you continue to have access to this link. And here are some of the results that we have as of this morning. So we've had 470 people respond to the survey. And if you look on the left, you can see the census data for the city of Columbus, and you can see the census data for the respondents of said survey. And the reason we put this slide up here is because we want to make sure that the feedback that we get from the participants in this process is reflective of the Columbus community. And so that when the feedback and the data are reflective of the community, we feel good about passing that information on to the working group. We asked the question about the primary affiliation with Columbus City Schools. Most of the people who have responded to this point were community members, followed by students, parents, and other. We've had more women fill out the survey. And we've asked which grade span are most people familiar with. And high school seemed to be the one that most people had a connection to, followed by elementary. And then there were people who were connected district-wide. When we asked the question about which of the following approaches do you prioritize for creating a safe school, instructional programming and the cultural approach were the two top selected ideas. And so we'll have an opportunity this evening to take a deeper dive into discussion around each of those 5 areas. And in the first round, we will talk about those first 2 approaches. So Zoom protocols. If you are new to Zoom, we'd like to ask you to click on your name or participants, and you have an opportunity to rename yourself. And so what we'd like for you to do at this time is put yourself in one of the 4 roles that you see on the right side of your screen. Are you a student? Are you a community member, district staff, or a parent? And if you could put your role and then a dash in your name, that would be extremely helpful as we transition into the small group discussion.